There are many glamorous housing developments that you will find going up all over the island, and record-breaking building accomplishments are often noted or even mentioned. There are also those stories about failed developments along the way. In countries like Jamaica, with its demographic desirability and its global acclaim, why are the houses so expensive? Let's dissect this great concern.
The Jam Fam family. Jam Fam, come hang with me. Yeah.
Hello, Wagwan. Big up yourself, whether you're there yard or you're there abroad. Welcome back to another episode of Life with the Jam Fams. And on this episode, we're going to tackle the issue of why it is that Jamaica houses are so expensive. Now, given how lackluster the Jamaica resale housing market is, one would believe that the housing prices would be low. Equally, a significant number of Jamaicans buy lots in estate developments or suburban or rural communities and build their houses over time. And Jamaicans tend to build or buy their land and stay at the same place for a significant period of time, especially when they buy houses. Now, in spite of these factors, house prices continue to be growing at a rather rapid rate of 5.5% to 7.2% compounding annually. Be mindful that insurance companies will give you up to 48% increase over 2 years period. And of course, we know that this is directly linked to the premiums that they want to charge you. However, we are going to be looking at 5 significant reasons as to why Jamaica house prices might be as alarmingly high as it seems to some people. The first thing we're going to look at is demand. Well, it goes without saying, houses in Jamaica is in high demand. People want them. People want to be able to buy, whether it's people in the diaspora who are looking to return who wants to buy, or people who are looking to move to Jamaica who wants to buy. So when these developments go up, people are buying them up, or whether it's companies that have their holdings here in Jamaica and are employing people who are traveling from overseas and coming and therefore need to have accommodation. Also, there is a thriving rental market. So of course, sometimes people are buying those up in that regard as well, but there is a high demand in comparison to the supply that we have. And that's not to say that properties aren't being built, because the NHT is investing a lot of money in building out lots of different estates, and there are lots of private developers across the country that are building and marketing properties on a frequent basis. However, that doesn't stop the fact that there is still a high demand, because there is a demand for people who currently live on the island. There is a demand for people in the diaspora who are looking to return or just to own a piece of the rock. And there are also high demand for people who are looking to relocate to Jamaica. The next factor to consider is location. Now, land in different parts of the country are going to have considerably more value than land in other areas. This is not something that is unusual. If you want to buy something, for example, in Covent Gardens, you're going to have to pay for a piece of that turf. If you're going to buy something in one of the upscale areas in Toronto, you're going to pay for that turf. If you're going to buy something, for example, in Manhattan, you're going to pay for those turf. So the location is going to be a fundamental thing. And so areas that are in metropolitan, so for example in Kingston, especially New Kingston, places in certain parts of Montego Bay, Ocho Rios, certain parts like Mandeville, and upcoming communities like Junction and certain parts of Santa Cruz are going to be considerably more expensive. And just to give you an example, a lot, for example, in a section in Mandeville the other day, I noticed on it online, and it was going for $18.5 million. I think it was about quarter acre or maybe half an acre, but it's the community that it's in. And then just down the road from there is a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom townhouse, and that was on just shy of 1/8 of an acre, and that was going for the same 18.5 million. So that's one with a house, significantly less land space, but it's just to show you the comparison. One is in a much more sought after area, and of course, which brings us nicely into the next point, the land size that you are looking to acquire. So point number 3 and reason number 3 is the size. So we're talking about two things here when it comes down to size. So the first size factor is the size of the lot that you're seeking to buy. A lot of lots that you will find in certain developments, so whether you're looking in suburbs or you're looking in certain rural communities, the lots that you will get will typically be a 1/4 acre. And of course you might be able to get 1/2 acre lot or even larger. However, when you go to certain developments, so for example like some of the NHT developments and some of the other developments that you find, you tend to get about 1/8 of an acre. And so the size, the location and the demand all helps to push that price up a little bit more. So we need to take that into consideration as well. And although Jamaica is a place where it has a lot of land that is unoccupied by in any way, it's just not developed. There are remote lands that are underdeveloped and just left to be vegetation. We still recognize that the areas that are highly populated are areas where people are seeking after. They are dense communities and towns and cities, and they are highly sought after areas, and therefore people are going to pay a premium to be in those areas because those are the areas that have the infrastructure that people need and that people are seeking to be close to. The other aspect of the size to consider is the size of the houses, and some of the houses in Jamaica are significantly huge houses. In many countries, 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms tend to be the course of what people tend to have. However, in Jamaica, more tends to be what people have. So you might find 3-bed, 2-bathroom houses. However, you're more likely to find houses that are 4-bed, 3-bathrooms, or 5-bed, 3 or 4 bathrooms, or even larger. And with that comes the price point, because of course it needs to be considered how much it's going to cost you because of the size of the property that you are acquiring. So the size of the lot and the size of the house that's built on the lot are two key features of size to consider that impact the price that you are going to pay. The fourth thing to consider is the finish. So that's how the property looks inside and outside when it's finished. And of course, when you consider the finish, you also have to consider the resources that are used to ensure that that finish is happening the way that you want it. When you compare, for example, a kitchen and its counters in the UK to what you get as a finish in Jamaica, there's just simply no comparison. In the UK, we have very different features in comparison to the features that you will find in a Jamaican kitchen, where most of them are going to be granite or marble countertops that you will have, which is a significant cost to investment. And also some of the other things that they have in their houses to complete it here in Jamaica, which tends to reflect some of the things that you might find in other American houses, the opulence that you might find in some American houses. So we've got to factor that in, and just keep in mind that a lot of these resources that are being used to build are imported. So oftentimes people are thinking, why are these houses so expensive in Jamaica? As though, why is there a problem because it's in Jamaica? The resources that people are using to build houses in Jamaica are often imported resources, so they need to pay that cost for it when they import it, and therefore it's reflected in the selling price when people are selling them here on the island, because those materials cost significantly. Now, the other point to think about is investment portfolio, and I highlighted this briefly when I talked about demand, in the fact that some people are buying it for renting, some people are buying it for short-term lets or stays like Airbnb and for the tourist market. And so properties are being picked up as an investment where people want to build a wealth portfolio and a generational legacy so that they have that to leave behind for their family. And some people are getting themselves into the property market, the real estate market, because they want to use it as a means to invest their money and hold it so that it grows, because the rate at which the market grows in Jamaica, it would be a significant investment for them. Of course, we cannot forget that there are lots of fees and costs that are also involved, and the seller bears a significant amount of those costs as well. So that is also going to play a role in the overall price that is being offered. And because the market moves so slowly, some people probably factor that in ahead of time when they put their houses out there for sale, and what they're going to be asking for it as time progresses when it's on the market. There are lots of other factors, so if you can think of any, please share them with us here in the comment section, so that people are aware and be mindful to think about some of these things beforehand, so that they are aware of some of the reasons Jamaican houses are as expensive as they are. Remember that Jamaican houses are quality houses that are not built from wood and materials that will quickly blow away in a tornado or get damaged so quickly. Jamaican houses are brick and mortar, solid structures that will last a significant period of time, and that also weighs in on the price of the property that you are going to be buying. Do tell us your view on some of the factors you think contribute to the price of houses in Jamaica. We do look forward to hearing them. Just in this little spot, you can already see the difference in properties. Just in one little strip of road, you can see a significant difference in properties and the sizes, and therefore the prices that comes with it in this beautiful country we live. Yona, as you are aware, some parents are contemplating moving their children to Jamaica, some of which are within your age group and going to go into high school. And so it is why I'm trying to gather some information from your perspective and your lived experience with schooling here and schooling in the UK. So you've talked to us about some of the things that you find in terms of learning styles and things. You've also explained to me some of the things in terms of school dinners. And now I just want you to tell me in terms of a summary of the classroom experience, so the way in which the classroom is laid out and the facilities in there, and also to some regard the interaction with the teachers. Are you able to explain that for me?
Before I get into that, I'd like to just say people are trying to take advice from this for what if they should bring their children to education here. This is my experience. It doesn't have to be your children's or your experience. It's how I feel based on what I had in terms of education before coming to Jamaica and what I had here. So yes. In terms of resources depends on the school's budgeting.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have any resources at my school. I'm just going to say that. Well, I'm not taking a job at my school, but they tend to focus on their senior staff's offices instead of our resources for learning.
Okay.
So we don't really have any resources, really. In my school specifically, in terms of classrooms compared to England, I would prefer those just because they're more built up, tend to be cleaner, and the materials that they use are less likely to be contaminated. What I mean by that is just because basically everything in Jamaican schools is made out of wood and metal, and those metal chairs are very painful to be sitting on, especially if you have sessions that you have to stay in the classroom and the teacher comes to you and you'll be sitting for how long?
Mm-hmm.
It is very painful.
Mm-hmm.
And then the desks, especially if you get a desk that's old,
Mm-hmm.
which is why I made sure to be the first in my class this year so I can get a good one. Chichi. Chichi nyam up with all of the decks them up there. Every single decks up there have at least one in there. I dig out the whole of the wood then. And the door them wouldn't do. Chichi, enjoy it. Every drop at the door, because of it.
For those who don't know what chichis are.
It's termite.
Uh-huh.
So, I'm not saying that this is going to happen for every school, but I just don't think the school has gotten to that stage to change the doors. I do think that they're going to, but for me that's an issue because the desks that we have in England are fully metal, so Chichi's not getting through that. At least the one I had was metal, and our chairs are plastic.
Okay, because I think some of the desks that are the tables are wooden,
I know that,
but they are covered with a Formica cover.
Wooden. The one at my school was painted with like the wood mark.
Wood effect.
Yeah.
So it's
but
a Formica layer
wood.
that's on it. So it's not actually wood, but it's like a Formica layer. But I do agree that underneath it is the frame of it is metal, and then it have that Formica on top, similar to the counters but thinner, like the kitchen counters. Yeah. So I understand what you mean.
And our desks are plastic. Another plastic.
The chairs.
Oh yes, our chairs are plastic. Another plastic can still be painful, that metal, especially if it's like an old chair and it's like having those sharp edges, especially with your uniform, and since you have to get up to greet the teachers.
It's torturous, the chairs. Okay.
Now, in regards to teaching, first, we don't have teaching assistants, although we do in some cases have something similar. To my experience, Jamaicans don't tend to like having bosses per se. So instead of teaching assistants, they're more known as co-teachers if you have two teachers for a subject.
When do you have two teachers?
You tend to have it if one teacher, for example, might have two subjects for that one slot. So a teacher might teach you one time and then the other teacher will teach you the next time.
Okay, so that's when they share the class. And then
or
when else do you have it?
Or the timetable is full and they have then they got double booked. And then the other time is if the class is too big or they don't want to teach that much children and they split it into two groups.
Okay. I'm taking these bits off like that, but I'm going to keep these because I'm going to cut those up, and the bits on the inside too, the white bits on the inside, I'm going to use that as well to make my stir fry with some other vegetables that I've got that I'm going to mix it with. And then at the end, once I've done that, I'll put the meat in there with it, and I will have this as my carbs, and I will show you my meal later on. I also need some of these ones because I'm going to cut those up. But as you keep going, you'll see that it gets lighter and lighter as you go in. I'm just leaving the red bits. So in some, for example, in Kenya, they tend to eat this bit and they cook it up and they put it as a stew. Put meat with it and things like that as a stew. In China, they cut it up and they use it as a stir fry. So different places do it differently. And so it's eaten in a wide variety of places. And I'm going to give it a go because if it's a superfood, why not try it? Because it's not synthetic. I'm going to go focus on the purple bit. And this is what the inside bit look like. So I'm going to cut that down the middle and just cut it up into bits. So I'll show you that bit at the end. That's the purple part of it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the same. I'm going to pour some hot water on that with some salt and then leave it. And then I'm going to pour that off and wash them again. And then I'm going to do the stir fry with it. So I just cut this part and it's gone a little bit discolored because it's oxidizing since. But some people use this bit and slice it down like that and flour it and deep fry it as fish. I'm going to just cut it up and use it as part of that. Again, I'm going to put the lemon juice and the salt on it to help with the staininess, with removing the staininess and some of the bitterness. So I will show you the next step. I've already taken out some string bean. I'm going to put in there. and I'm also going to put some carrot in there to help with my stir fry, and I'm going to, as I've said, put some chicken sausages with it because I didn't defrost any meat earlier. And my vegetables are clean and ready, so I'm going to sort that out now, strain that off, rinse it off again to get rid of any excess salt, and then I'm going to put that to steam. So I've seasoned it. I've seasoned it, and now I've put it in to start cooking. And once it's cooked to my desired, I'll put in the carrots and string bean and see if it needs seasoning again. I've transferred them now into the wok so I can actually do it as a stir fry. I'm preparing the sausage, the chicken sausage, to add to it as well. I've tasted it before and I could not believe that it's what I'm eating because it tastes really nice. So that was just before I put in the carrots and the string bean. So I'm just going to stir it up a little bit and put in the meat, and then I should be finished. I like the fact that it's nice and colorful. I use some sweet and sour sauce and some sweet chili sauce to finish it off because Eleonora doesn't really like coconut cream in food, so I did that instead because I'm going to have her taste it and see what she thinks. But next time I'll definitely use some coconut cream so I'll see how that tastes. So the next time you'll see is when I've plated it, and I want to ask you, would you try it? Tell us in the comments below. And that's the finished product. See that steam just rising up out of it. Awesome. I just tasted one of the bhajis, the flour bhaji. So now I'm going to have a taste of this and see how they taste. I'm going to just take some off. I'm going to try. No kidding. You would never be able to tell me, say, this is banana flour me I eat. And I wanted it to be like this so it don't become too soft. Yep. And I like the fact that it has a kick of spice. Definitely. Definitely. I'm going to do this again. So you notice one banana flour made a complete meal. So the one banana flour, other than for the little bits of things I added in, made a complete meal. The bit that I'm going to treat as a carbs and the vegetable and protein. Awesome and amazing. One flour. And I've actually got 3 meals out of it. So I've got some that I'm going to pack away for another eat in the week. Awesome. Because Eleona is only going to taste it. I don't think she's going to want to indulge yet. So there you go. Make up your mind. Is this something you would eat? And before we hear people saying, oh, it's poor people, just have a think. How did our diet as Caribbean people become so carbs rich? It's because that was easy to find, in abundance, and it didn't cost one whole of money. And some of the other things that we eat. This is a superfood because of the nutrient value. And the people in the regions that eat it aren't eating it because they're poor. They're eating it because they know the value it gives to their body. So you can decide if you want to try it, yay or nay. Let's know in the comment below.
The Jamaican family, where I living the good life. We're royal, cruising through the West Indies, having fun, enjoying the good life. Jam Fam family, the Jam Fam family, yeah. The Jam Fam family. diary, living the good life. We're royal, cruising through the West Indies, having fun, enjoying the good life. Jam Fam family, the Jam Fam family, yeah. Jam Fam, come hang with me.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on this another episode of Life with the Jam Fams. Bye for now. Do take care. We look forward to seeing you in the next one.